I heard in the Bible that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. I grew up in the inner city of Chicago, and my mother had 13 kids. Kanisha, Kitara, LaShawn, Jamie, Elizabeth, Crystal, James, Naomi, Stephen, Dane, Tisha, Timothy, and Joseph. Yes, she had her own rap song. I didn't have a lot to eat. It was many times that the heat was turned off. I had to stand in front of the heaters and rotate my body almost like a rotisserie chicken. But I remember those days because it made me, I couldn't appreciate the good days if I didn't have any bad days. I remember getting ready for school and I could see the tears in my mother's eyes because I know in her mind, she was afraid to send me to school. Because by 8th grade, I was walking over jelly pools of blood just to get to school, just to get to 8th grade. I remember walking through buildings that many little girls didn't make it through the buildings because their bodies would come up a couple of years later decomposed. And often the only thing that people found was their teeth. Then I learned going to high school, my mother said you can be anything that you want to be, Kitara. If you're a C student, be the best C student. If you're a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper. She told me I could go to any school that I wanted to. But by the time I got to high school, I was chased home every day by gangs. And my mother, you know, she said, Kitara, you know, the doctor said that you were born with a heart murmur. You'll never be able to run. But the gang members didn't care that they didn't look at my medical records and say, don't chase her. She's got a heart murmur. Oh no, I was running. I'm hurdling, jumping over fences, and you name it. I had to do that on a daily basis, and you know what I said? You know what? If I'm gonna run like this, I might as well join a track team. I ended up becoming the MVP of that track team. Out of 620 freshmen that started school with me, only 114 graduated. I was about to drop out. I joined the gang. I ended up being stabbed with my artery severed, and I was bleeding to death on the south side of Chicago. And all the gang members that said that they were my new family and they were my friends, not one of them offered me a ride to the hospital. And let me quote the guy. He said, folks, you ain't gonna be bleeding in my lap. My life wasn't as valuable as the interior of this clown's car, but 3 minutes prior I was willing to die for this nation. A little while after the hospital, not one of the gang members came to visit me. And I came back and I started educating everybody not to join a gang, and they didn't like that. I remember the guy went to bring me to church, and they pulled a sawed-off shotgun on this man. He said, I just come to get Kitara in the name of Jesus. They let me go, and he said, stay with me. But I didn't have the strength to stay with him. I thought I was going to miss something. They let me out the van, and I remember I had a little boy at the time. He was looking out the window, and all the male street gang members came out. They put my hands on the gate because I had to remember love, life, and loyalty. They beat my hands 3 times with a bat and broke my hand. And I couldn't cry because I didn't want my son to think that his mother was outside being beat by men, or what they call themselves men. And I learned something that day. There had to be something better out there for me. It didn't matter how poor I was. It didn't matter that not that many people graduated from my high school. It didn't matter if the teachers didn't believe in me. It didn't matter if I didn't have enough money to move to a different neighborhood. It did not matter. Why? Because my past adds definition to me. It doesn't define who I am. And this day I stand before you as a young woman that's 31 years old that is debated at the United Nations. Because I utilized my professional voice the entire time. I talked about eradicating hunger and poverty. I stand before you as an author of Stepping Stones to Success. I am an author of my own book because we need to share our story, and our story is our testimony. Because when you share your story, you can change somebody's life because they can realize that it's not as bad as they thought it was. Oh, I know what it feels like to be homeless. But I stand before you now as the owner of my own home and a brand new car. But success is not measured in the amount of money that I make. It's not even measured in the kind of car that I drive. It's measured in what makes me come alive. And your success, we talk about spirituality today. Each one of you have a spirit, the spirit of entrepreneurs. Some of you are business owners. The spirit of leadership. Some of you are leaders, whether you choose to be or not, whether you go in the right direction or the wrong direction. My race doesn't define who I am, because every time that I've stepped on a reservation to speak, I've spoken to Russian Ukrainians, African Americans, Native Americans, Asian Pacific Islanders, and the same thing every time. But I never felt the feeling that I feel when I step in front of Native Americans. I'm no longer black. I'm always embraced. I found out that my mentors didn't have to look like me. They didn't have to talk like me. I realized that I can learn from anybody, whether he's 18 years old or whether he's 4 years old. I stand before you not asking for a whole bunch of money or anything, but I travel all over to speak and share my story, and I encourage each and every last one of you to do the same. And I don't let an apostrophe T stand between me and my destiny, and you shouldn't either. People tell you what you couldn't do, what you shouldn't do. Don't, you won't do this. You won't mount to anything. You can't be this. You can't start that new business. You can't finish school. You can't leave the reservation. You can't go across the nation. You can't be a professional. Well, I'm here to tell you that today, yes, you can. I believe that because you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. I believe that. I started a nonprofit a couple of years ago, and it was only Saturdays down at the STA Plaza, and people laughed at me. They said, "You gonna start something called ponytails?" Who laughing now? But people laughed at me and told me that I couldn't do it. But I stand before you today as a woman of God first, as a mother of 4 boys, ages 5, 8, 9, and 14. I stand before you as a young woman who believes that you can achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. So in this spirituality day, I want you to take not just spirituality in regards to prayer. Too many times we watch TV and watch people making it rain with the money. Bend over, touch your toes, touch your knees, touch your elbows. The young women are half naked. By the time they're done, they resemble a pretzel. 50 Cent rapping about being shot like it's cool. You don't see me rapping, they stab me in the neck, now I get a paycheck. I can tell you right now, it didn't feel good bleeding to death on the south side of Chicago. If I could leave with you anything before I close out, because I know it's almost dinner time, I want you to believe. Believe in your Heavenly Father that you can accomplish anything that you desire to do if you pray and you ask Him for it. Someone tell you 4 things in the way that I learned to live my life when I'm living with Christ. 1 is always expect opposition when it comes to your dream. When you have an idea and something that's been inside you since you were a little girl or a little boy, expect people to be negative sometime, but you don't have to take that. Number 2 is exclude negative thinkers as your close friends. You tell somebody, I'm going to be a model when I grow up. A hair model. Sometimes we make a mistake by telling somebody, I want you all to be like Nike and just do it. You don't have time to waste your energy trying to convince naysayers. You can put that into accomplishing your dream or the vision that God gave you. The other thing that I learned is to always express continually your belief in your dream. Tell everybody, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. I already done it. Oh, when I get my master's degree, I'm going to be speaking across the nation. I said that for a long time. I don't even have a website, and people find me all across the country. Miss McClure, can you come speak over here? As a matter of fact, I can. The other thing is, you are what you eat spiritually and naturally. We hear all these things on the television. They have my box right there. How many people heard of Paul Wall, the rapper? You know the one. Let me see your grill. Your grill. I won XM Radio's African American Making History Today Award, and I won a grill by Paul Wall. Diamonds in the top and the bottom one's rose gold. Tops and bottoms. But at first I was thinking, what am I going to do with this? I can't get a job with this. You gave me a grill because I changed my life? Why don't you give me some money so I can start some scholarships? A lot of people are jealous of you. You know why? When I look at television, I don't see my people. I see Flavor Flav, who look like he been bobbing for chicken in a bucket of hot grease. I I see New York all on TV half naked. That's what I see. But when I come here and you have the opportunity for people to teach you who your people are, you can see the ones who paved the way for you. You have an opportunity to learn from your elders. I'm still looking. Still looking. So when you watch television and you don't see faces that look like yours, you can go to your people and you can learn and you can see the warrior spirit. You can see the spirit of that leadership. You can see the spirit of the song artist and the writer and the poet. You can see the doctor and the lawyer. Don't let apostrophe T stand between you and your destiny.